by 1968, the struggle for civil rights in America was far from over. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 seemed to have done little to quell widespread racial discrimination across the country. In many cities, like Chicago, the problems of racism only seemed to increase. Police brutality against black citizens and people of color was rife. In October 1966, a new group calling itself the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense held its first meeting in Oakland, California. They prepared themselves physically and politically to fight back against police brutality and other civil rights abuses. Within months, Black Panther chapters started opening all over the United States, including Chicago. A few years earlier, a young man named Hiroji Kubota was learning the art of photography in Japan. In 1961, Kubota was working as a photo fixer when 3 members of the Magnum Photo Agency visited from the United States. Kubota took an opportunity to work as their assistant. The experience ultimately spurred him to head to America to explore a career as a professional photographer. Soon, Kubota was living in New York, working as a freelancer. In the summer of 1963, a tip from a contact at Newsweek magazine prompted Kubota to head to D.C. to photograph the March on Washington. As Kubota relates, "As countless people came, suddenly I heard the I Have a Dream speech. I did not know who was giving the speech, but later I learned that it was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. That day was pivotal for Kubota, igniting an intense interest and curiosity about the black-white divide in America. Without the experience of the march, he said, it would have taken me much longer to appreciate and understand the complexities of a country like USA and beyond. Kubota's journey would eventually lead him to the Deep South and then to Chicago, a fertile ground to photograph powerful and compelling civil rights stories. In 1968, when Kubota arrived in Chicago, race relations in the city were highly volatile. The governing administration of Mayor Richard Daley wasn't just ignoring the problem of racial segregation and the issues it caused, it was exacerbating them. Some of his most photographed subjects during his time in Chicago were the Black Panthers. One of the most well-known of his photographs, taken in the Fulton River District, stands as one of the most iconic Black Panther photos ever made. In it, 3 saluting Black Panther members stand among snow-covered railroad tracks, the imposing Chicago skyline towering above them in the background, their message of revolution formed by their defiant pose. The Black Panthers are united in their stance, in solidarity with those they represent. The snowy white ground around them a blank page on which they will write their story of revolution. The industrial setting, the rail cars, the machinery, all reflect their undaunted determination to battle the oppressive political powers that suppress them. The freight car threatening to bear down on them is halted, then commandeered. It becomes like the photo itself, the vehicle which will carry their revolutionary message across America. There is also an inherent sadness to the photo. It symbolizes the plight of so much of Black America. The monochrome contrast of the image heightens the tension between black and white, while bringing into focus the difference between the imposing, indomitable city and the 3 minute, resolute figures. What hope do they seem to have against the machinations of power and a system designed to keep them oppressed? Their fight seems almost unwinnable. But the scene of the lonely figures belies their strength. More and more people were joining their ranks each day. It may seem trite to point out that there are 3 Black Panthers in the photo, and that somehow the photo has some kind of religious import, as if they were the Trinity manifested here to vanquish the injustice and the cruelty of imperial oppressors. The comparison is almost unavoidable. Kubota describes that day to journalist Ben Beaumont Thomas. For some reason, these 3 leaders wanted to be photographed with a very big Picasso sculpture at Chicago City Hall. It's not interesting, I said. Then it started snowing. So we went outside and I took this. I didn't give them any instructions. They just went down there and saluted, never asking me anything about myself or what I might be doing the picture for. They pretty much ignored me. Today, more than 50 years after it was taken, Kubota's Black Panther photograph has not lost any of its significance. The struggle for civil rights in America continues unabated, and with it, enduring symbols like Kubota's photograph are a reminder not just of the road already traveled, but as a guide to the future of the fight for universal human rights in America.